We're gonna show you what we're doing for the morning. I'm gonna demo, brief, all of the things that we're doing. You are not expected to retain this now. We'll go back through it again as we go through each individual piece. Again, I just want you to give you an idea of what we're trying to do. And Joel knows the morning segment here, we're going to be focused on marksmanship fundamentals. What are the key parts of marksmanship fundamentals, Joel? I think you just put a video out about this.
This is true.
Yeah.
Basically, you're just going to laser focus where you want bullets to go and press the trigger in a way that you don't disturb the sights and just have the bullets magically appear where you want them to go.
And we're going to stay connected to the gun consistently so the gun does the same thing consistently. So it's easy for me to manage doing that fast. So let me make a couple examples for you. Throw your eyes and ears on if you would. All right, so watch close. Like I said, I'm going to make a couple examples for you. Now watch again.
That definitely was not the good one.
What's that?
So that was definitely not the good one.
No, that was the bad one.
Oof.
All right, so I just fired two 10-shot strings about as fast as I could pull the trigger, aimed at that aiming reference in the center of the target. The first string was basically what we want. The sight just bounced off that spot. The rounds tracked right in there. If you were watching me holding the gun, it didn't look like anything changed, yeah? As I went through, it was just like... The second time, what did you see? Yeah, so the pacing was changing. It looked like the gun was recoiling differently. So what I'll say is I drew the gun. I didn't really connect to it hard. It was just resting in my hands. First shot I fired, the gun tracked up in recoil. I followed the sight, pulled the trigger again. I think one round went over the shoulder of the target. I firmed up the grip and started to put input down into the gun. Rounds tracked down to center, then too low. I think there's one off the bottom maybe. All right, and then the rounds tracked back to center as my grip balanced out and my eye focused on the spot on the target instead of tracking the sight up and down.
If you're watching his gun carefully from the side, it was just like going up and down the whole time he was shooting the target.
Now what we're gonna do is like go through a bunch of drills, but the context is this. Like it's like shooting a bunch of rounds as fast as you can, and what we want from you is that you're able to articulate what happens. It's not so much that you don't put them where you don't want to. It's that as things break down, you see it, feel it, understand it. You're like, yeah, I know exactly what I'm doing wrong. All right? It's about connecting cause with effect. Okay, so Joel, will you beat me for one shot return? So we'll start off with an exercise where we're just gonna focus on returning the gun. So watch the gun here. Don't pay too much attention to the target. Just watch the gun. Okay.
Stand by. Something just changed. Changed again, definitely not for the better.
All right, so this is the first exercise we're gonna do where we're not even, I know I said don't look at the target, we're not even assessing where the hits are. I don't give a shit about that part. So think about that 10-shot string that I demoed to start with. We're going to start just shooting one shot, but think of it as one shot in like a multi-shot string. Now what has to happen is the sight's fixed right on my spot that I want to hit. Boom, the gun goes off and the sight tracks precisely back to that spot without me needing to think about it. Fair enough? All right, and as you watched the gun, you're just like, it looked different, definitely. And we demoed like the three things that we want. Good target focus, fixed on the white aiming reference, and in my head I'm like, you can leave it, don't worry about it, man.
We get it.
It's like, fuck that spot. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Like, I want the gun to go right to that spot. All right, you saw me stare at the sight and follow the sight up and down, which definitely looked different and slower. And then if I pushed into the gun, like put input down, you could see that, and I would see my sight go below the aiming reference on the target and then come back up. What we're doing here is just isolating, of course, one shot and then returning the gun right back to the spot. Now what we're doing is putting in input, right? So it's an unconscious thing. It's not something that you can consciously manage that well, I think. It's kind of like if you're using a mouse, How much do I move it to make the pointer go to where I want? Serious question. Like,
Subjective.
well, I mean, I could put numbers to it and it'd be objective, but if I'm actually doing it in the moment, I'm not thinking in those terms. I just look at the thing. I'm like, look, midget porn. Pointer comes. I'm like, yep, that's what I want.
Obviously.
Obviously, right? Midgets with cowboy hats. Boom, over there.
Or maybe you're into like if you,
Midgets
any of
with
you guys.
cowboy hats and fishnets. Again, like you just look at the thing you want. I'm sorry, Joel.
If anybody here is a video gamer, I don't know if I'm the right demographic or not. Like, if you're playing Call of
What do
Duty
you
or
mean
whatever, you just look.
demographic?
What? Exactly. What do you mean by you people?
What do you mean?
Well, you look pretty
What do
nerdy,
you
so I
mean
figured I was hit the nail right on the
demographic?
head. No, like, you just look where you want the. Like, you're just looking at the screen. The guy you want to hit, you just like you watch, or if you watch a pro gamer, they just move the mouse around. It doesn't look. You wouldn't see somebody like doing this kind of nonsense. Or if it was like ammo in stock, 9mm, 1 cent a round, I wouldn't be like, that's where I want to click on. Be like, oh, just be cool. Like, oh, I think I'll buy that. And then the next thing you know, the cursor shows up there.
Yeah, the idea is I'm going to connect to the gun the same way every time. The gun will do a thing in recoil, and I look at where I want it to go, and it'll come back by the right amount of input. Now, this is a separate concept from grip. Like a lot of people conflate these two things. Let me make an example. Joe, let's do one-shot return again, will you?
Sure.
All right. I think everybody here, even the smoothest of the smooth brains, agrees that this is a totally fucked up grip and not advisable in any way, shape, or form. Okay, that's good.
Stand by.
All right.
It's annoying how good he is at that.
Yeah, I
So-
like the way you cupped it. It did a good cup.
Dude.
Cup and saucer, man.
No, well, he means cup the balls, swallow the gravy, I think is where he was headed. But,
Oh, all right then.
right?
Whoa.
That is where you were headed.
You have more. That explains why you're so good at that, Ben. Lots of practice and
We're
experience.
on the same page here, man.
I take a lot of Navy jobs, Joel. You know this. All right. All right, so but you see what I mean? It's independent. It's like connecting to the grip or connecting to the gun with a good grip makes it fast and consistent and easy. Like holding the gun all fucked up like that, my conscious brain was completely taken up with putting in the right amount of input and like not changing up the connection. I was like, it took all my mental energy. Now, if I have a good grip that I can grip consistently, I don't need to think about doing that. Then my brain is freed up for other things. Obviously, there's a big advantage to having a good grip. But again, the idea here is it's a separate concept. Input is separate from how I'm holding the gun, if that makes sense. Now, after that, we'll go start firing 2 rounds. So you think of this as a check on your technique from just firing 1. So what we're going to do is have you shoot aggressively where the second round is not tied to a sight picture. And then we're kind of going to see where they go and you'll understand your habits. So let me make a couple examples for you. Once again, Jolie.
I got you. Stand by.
Okay, so as I'm shooting there, you can see the gun completely stabilizes, right? I can tell you the sight stabilized on the aiming reference and then I pulled the trigger again. So first things first, we're gonna ask you not to shoot this way reactive to the sight, right? Instead, I want you to pull the trigger about as fast as you can, still try to be aware of what the sight does, but again, the second round is not tied to what I see. I'm gonna pull the trigger either way, okay? All right, so I did it for you there a few different ways. If you're watching me, it's kind of subtle and hard to tell what's going on, but you see if that input amount is right and the target focus is right, the rounds stack up, right? That's why we have these gamer guns, so it makes it easy to do that, right? You could see if I followed the sight up visually, very apparent, like you could see it on the target. You could see when I put input into the gun too much and sent one down low left. So basically, we'll be trying to make sure you stay target focused, grip the gun properly, and balance the input so it is correct. All right? What you see tends to catch up with what you're doing. So if you're like stacking, like pushing the gun low left, we're not going to see it maybe initially. Then with enough repetition, enough time, you start to be aware. You're like, yep, I see it, I feel it. All right, and that's why we have to put 500 rounds into this morning, is so you start to see that.
Well, you saw him just do the rapid fire pairs in the moment. So there's a difference between the first one he demonstrated wrong, where it was sight, press, he came back down, he saw it again, and then he fired the shot. That one we'd call like reactive style, because he was watching, he's like, I see the sight for each one. The last one he just did the rapid fire pairs. In the moment, he's a little bit along for the ride. It's happening so fast. I mean, he wasn't making a decision
Jesus took
for
the
the
wheel,
second.
man.
Exactly, wasn't making a decision for the second shot. But then afterwards, he could be like, "Son of a," because he saw the sight go up. It's like, "Yep, that one went up." Or I felt like you feel your hand pushed down. You're like, "Oh, I definitely pushed into that." So afterwards, you kind of play back the tape and think about what did I feel or see. But in the moment, it just you're along for the ride.
All right. After that, we'll do a lot with this next one. We're gonna switch into shooting a bunch of pairs or doubles. I'll make a couple examples for you. Gotta get more blammo in here. So watch me. Make an example here.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah, buddy. Okay, so after we're just doing isolated pairs, we'll start doing 4 pairs, 8 rounds from the holster. As you can see there, I gave you a couple examples. You can see me draw the gun and do everything I could to control it. Aggressive forward posture, elbows out, pushing in, all of that stuff. And then you saw me do like the way I would advocate shooting, which is just hold the gun with my hands, look at the spot I want. Gun comes up, connects to my eye line. You're like, yep, the sight's there, pair, pair, pair. And instead of trying to stop the gun from recoiling, I'm letting it recoil, right? And just focusing on consistent input to return it.
Or too long didn't read. He stood there like a middle-aged computer nerd, just holding the gun with his hands, just letting the gun do its thing, not trying to force it.
Yeah.
Is that a fair summary?
It is.
Yeah.
It's nice. All right, so while we're checking there, this is a consistency thing. So over the course of the string, people very rarely do the same thing the whole time, right? So we'll talk more about it and all that, but like how you grip the gun, it's more important to us that you just have a consistent connection and you're not changing the pressures. Most people over the course of shooting, their dominant hand just tenses up. Their support hand usually leaves the exercise and they'll start staring at the sight over the course of it. So what we want is that you just do it the same, even keel, like over time, and your grip and everything survives the length of the drill.
It'd be the same from the first shot to the very last shot.
Right.
The exact same hand placement, pressure, all that stuff.
We'll do a lot. We'll back up and we'll shoot all these yard lines on the same drill, but the concept will be the same. As we back up, you'll just see stuff more easily.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example of one of these strings breaking down. What happened there? Yeah, you could watch I was like, I was not trying to be subtle. When I do the bad examples, I'm not subtle at all. And yeah, you could say, and before you know it, I'm like, that tension leads to too much input, and I sent the last round down low left. Again, you're gonna shoot a lot of rounds, trying to see that happening, see it, feel it, understand it. It's not so much that you don't do it. You're gonna have to do it so we can see it, because I'm sure you all do it when you shoot for score anyway. All right, after we shoot with the predictive shooting or the doubles, we'll flip over and start being really accountable for the sight picture. So I'll make a quick example for you here. Actually, I'll give you 3.
Let's go.
Okay, so there's 3 examples, me reading the sight 3 different ways, right? The first way I shot, sight, stop, stable, not moving, then press. You could see the rounds stacked up on the pasters, right? After that, it was shooting the dot like a bouncing ball, like just watched it bounce off the spot, and the rounds went into like a fist size. After that, it was red smash, whereas register red in the middle and just pulling the trigger. I keep seeing red, keep pulling the trigger. We'll back up and then apply the correct sight picture for you at that kind of distance. What we'll see is that most of the time with a handgun inside of 10 yards, you'll just do business with the color. So you'll see red and react to red as opposed to stopping, stabilizing the dot, which is not necessary at close range. So we'll apply those skills to actually reacting to the sight and doing our best to center the rounds in the center of the A zone and shoot aggressively, you know, that kind of thing. What we find is that doing the faster shooting, the predictive shooting and doubles and that stuff beforehand, you're going to see the same problems with your marksmanship that you'll see as the pacing slows down. You just see it way easier at the most aggressive way that you're going to shoot, and that's why we're starting off with the most aggressive shooting. All right? Does this make sense to everybody? So again, we'll go through all of this again in detail, but it's like that's what we were working on this morning. Any questions? Awesome. All right. Well, let's get to it.
Let's do it.
Thank you.